not gone out of my way to hear anything about her on purpose. But the information that, people have talked and it's all been wonderful things, and she really does seem wonderful.
Well, I was on, but I had a track meeting and my boss came in, and so I
Well, I was used to, I walked in, morning, Pam. I said, that's not morning, it's evening. They do that every day.
And when I was on the board here still, I was a coach for Matt.
That's why, what did it? Set this up.
take it back to our permit cooking classes.
Do we have to call this one to order?
A while.
No, this
You
is
can
just
work one
a-
of these
no,
trips, I
this
don't
is
want you
just
to be
a-
with them.
I forgot that. I haven't even.
Also, where do I find the
With this
notes for
weather,
when we get
I
to
just
it?
left work and came right
What
here.
notes?
That you want to, lives together here.
Okay, so again, the purpose here today is this was open to any board member that wanted to come during this time. These working sessions is kind of a way for us to talk about things that are on our mind that we need to talk about. It sounds like this one is kind of geared towards the strategic plan, so that will be kind of the majority of the talking today would be about the strategic plan. And so, now I've lost my strategic plan documents. Oh, no, I got it. Okay, so just reflecting back on our conversation before regarding the strategic plans, we talked about maybe starting with the mission statement. And so what I did is just took a picture of that mission statement, and I used ChatGPT to reconfigure it into something that's more simple, a sentence and some bullet points. I've got copies of what I didn't put it together, like ChatGPT did. I don't know if you guys know what ChatGPT is. I'm sure you probably have heard about it. And so I'm not saying we have to do this, but this is a mission statement based off of that one that's a little more simplified. So the other thing is probably just need to talk about the process that we want to utilize to retool or reconfigure, or whatever word you want to use, the current strategic plan. Because as I understand it, there was a very structured process that you went through that the IASB led. Now we can do that again. That's an option as well. And that's fine. I really have no preference because I've not been through that before. You guys have, so you know what that's like. Or we can attempt to do something on our own. For example, like we could take the strategic plan, each of the goals, and rewrite those goals to fit kind of where we want to be in the future. Or again, like I said, we can have IASB come in and work with us in a similar fashion as they did when they created that. So that's the plan. So twofold there. Any kind of comments on the mission statement or potential mission statement?
I like it. What are the bullet points for? Are they like a supplement?
Well, like I said, I just plugged in that mission statement and said, give me a statement followed by bullet points. And that's what this is what it
So
came
this
up
is
with.
just kind of a
Yeah,
starting
so-
point on how to
Yeah,
change
I'm
that.
not saying that this is what, if we want to tweak this, make it a little more specific or whatever, this is just for discussion today.
I think you said that discussion on working subject topics were mainly for today. Areas we want to work on.
Which ones are we working on?
I think
So-
we can decide, right, like. So, yeah, the mission statement, I mean, I think our initial complaint when we had that meeting back in September was it's very long, and then this one, it just kind of reiterates the same words, I think.
Yeah, so I was thinking the mission vision, and personally, I'd like us to see like update some logo, update some websiting stuff. So to me, that's under mission vision, but that's just me. And then this is the start to.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the starting point is what do we want to do with the mission statement? Again, this, I'm not saying we have to use that. This is just to start discussion. And then like I said, the next phase would be how do we want to work this process? What do we want that to look like? Do we want to do it ourselves? Do we want to have IASB come in and lead the process for us?
For strategic planning generally.
Mhm. Yeah, like I said, because this plan is up in 26, if I'm not mistaken. And so once it expires, we'll have to have something in mind to take its place. And my question is, do we want to do that ourselves? Or do we want to have IASB come in like they did before and guide us through that process? Personally, I think the plan is very wordy. It's very wordy. Maybe it was intended to be that way. I'd like to see us do something that's a little more simplified and a little more broader.
Would you still keep the same categories of students?
That's up to us. I mean, the goals would be up to the board. I mean, but I think you want to I think you want to be it a little more broader. It's very specific.
I would strongly prefer that we not use the IASB process. I think we can do this. I don't disagree with the categories, the broad sort of categories. I think you can start with just about any set of categories that covers most of the aspects of the district.
Mhm.
I think that the question is the devil's in the details. It's, what are we aiming for? What are our goals? What are we measuring?
One of the reasons that some of the stuff is very specific is because when we invited those 40 people to come in, we had round tables, right? And it was round table discussion, and then people, like there was a couple leaders to each of the tables that took notes, et cetera, et cetera. And then after that, then we put stuff on Post-it notes and then went over and started putting them all, maybe dots. Who remembers that?
I remember we used the whole gym, yeah.
So we used the big Post-it note kind of things, and then we started putting dots on everything that, like somebody had said. So like the majority of the one that had so many dots was the ones that we put on here, I guess.
Okay.
So I think that's why it was wordy, that's why it's so specific.
Right.
Because we had pulled everybody from, like all sorts of stakeholders. And so that's kind of where we ended up with some of this more specific stuff.
Yeah.
During the last process, and there's new people here too, so have you guys ever seen a fully created strategic plan anywhere else? Like, I think Julie and I looked at some online, and maybe we need to start there as seeing examples of others.
That's what I've done, is just research what others look like. And to me, the ones that I've looked at they're broader. They're not as specific. And maybe that's a personal choice for the boards to make, whether you want to be broad. I would think we would want to be a little more broader.
Can you give us like an example of one of the goals that you think is too specific? Like when you look at it and you say, like if we said it this way instead, you know what I mean? So that we can kind of understand what.
Well, I mean.
Are you saying like stick with the top of the goal?
Right. I mean, I think like the top two things here. I think
Vision, all students will be equipped with the skills that enable students' current as well as future success.
Yeah, I mean, so to me, that's like the goal. That's why maybe terminology is wrong, but I mean, the stuff underneath that you have listed there, I don't know if the ones the ones that I've looked at aren't as specific as that.
And maybe they don't just break it down as much.
Yeah, could be.
I think when I looked at them before, I think the top level strategic goals are usually more general to where.
Yeah.
It's not updated 5 years, right? It's like a plan, and then like each year you set goals on what you want to do. Right now, this is the only thing we have close to a yearly goal set. Even Bob's goals are very vague.
Yeah.
So I'd be fine if we start at the top and then yearly we pick, for the next year or two, we pick a couple of these things to focus on. And after 26, we look at it again and say, do we want to start just leave it at a high level this time? And then
so you're talking like a more simplified version of that, basically?
Yeah, because I think I looked at it too, but I mean, I think we can look at more and see where you said a lot of them are just high level, right? And it's meant to be your starting point, your guide for when you set your yearly goals. So that way you always have that the long-term goals in mind.
So
I'm
maybe-
almost sure that Waltham's, and we haven't looked at it for
Been
several
a
years,
while.
but one of them, they would go through and they would mark off on their site which ones they've already met. And I thought that was pretty cool. But I don't remember who that was now. I
Yeah.
probably have it in
We
this
have
mess.
that in Mendota.
You do,
Yeah,
where they mark it off.
yeah. It's not on the website, but we have it. Sorry, just thought I'd,
Oh, but it's not on the website, so I can't go find it.
but you could probably ask Mark or I can send it to you.
Or is it just an Excel document that they?
Yeah, it's a Word document that Brad gives us updates every quarter on. I can go into my email.
So do we want to start with like putting these top 5 items onto a different, like a blank sheet
I mean, I think.
and looking at it from there?
Maybe you pick a format. What do you want it to look like? I mean, if the goals are the overall, like Matt's saying, the overall, I don't know, my terminology is right. To me, it's a goal. But
Plan areas is
yeah,
what it,
if those aren't going to change, maybe we're talking about, okay, what format do you want it to look like? What do you want the end product to look like? I was trying to start with the end in mind. What do you want it to look like? You know, and then work
Backwards
backwards
design.
from there. Yeah.
let me see if I can find it. So I guess we need to do research on what we want it to look like. That's the problem with doing it on our own is structure,
We don't
like
have a
focusing
direction yet.
ourselves, yeah. Which we can get, but it's gonna take us a bit here. Let's see. Let me just. Because I see doing like a broad range and making it, and then each year setting each goal, like there's certain things that I think we'd all like to see. I'm just gonna try and pull up one that doesn't look crazy.
I guess one of my thoughts is that if we just do it by year though, like the one was about the safety and entries of the doors, like that takes us a little bit more planning than all of a sudden just saying, oh, next year we're gonna work on security for the doors. Well, that takes us a while to make sure that we've implemented the, the cost efficient and like getting somebody in and, you know what I mean? Like that takes more than just a year.
Mm-hmm.
So,
You know what I mean? So like
yeah.
for me, I think that some of these have to be,
Dimix is 2022 to 2027 and is 6 pages, but then you can deep dive into it and it's got 4 focus areas: engage, grow, achieve. And then underneath it, it's got more of these things, like than what we have 1 through 5.
Yeah, man, I think the way I look at it, how I would think it would work is we set a mission statement or something that's simple, that's your top thing, and then cascade it down, so then we set our strategic plan, whatever we're gonna call it, but that's like you say, your long-term 5-year plan, where do we wanna be in 5 years, but the yearly thing to me was each year we set goals that help us get there, so like for the doors, right? Or just take the front door redo, right? So we've got on our 5-year plan, we wanna update our doors in 5 years. So first year, we say, okay, we're gonna start getting
Quotes or
quotes, designs. Second year, we're gonna get it, get the actual drawings done. Third year, we're gonna you set it out that way. And then each year, you have these goals, so then we give those goals to Bob, and then that's what Bob has to get each year. That's how I would see it. Because then, like other goals, like the Angel scores, right? We tell Bob we want whatever percent increase, or kids getting better. So then Bob cascades that to Holly, who cascades it to the teachers, and then everybody has the same goals. Everybody's working on the same thing. That's how I would envision it and prefer it, because right now I don't think we as a board have goals, do we? Like this is it.
This is it.
Like,
Yeah.
and it's not very, like to give it to Bob, it's not very specific for him to take a lot of action on. I mean, there are some things in there, but looking at Bob's goals, there's not a lot of cascading coming into Bob's goals.
So for the next meeting, we should probably take these 5 and then break them down, like we'll start over, right? Is that kind of what you're thinking? And then we set Bob's goals based off that, which sets the district, and we do year one through, and then go out farther as we're building it back up? Or do we start with year 5 and go to year 1 and go backwards?
Well, are we gonna continue to use this until 26? Or are we gonna just start over now? Like
Right.
Well, that's what
I
I think
mean,
we need to
there's
decide is
a
what
lot
we
of-
want the process, what kind of process do we want to use?
A lot of organizations have like an ongoing strategic planning process. So you're sort of always revisiting your sort of long-term planning. So that it's not just a 5-year plan that you then renew at the end of the 5-year plan or whatever. You're just sort of always,
Yeah.
Tweaking it.
So
you're always thinking,
last month,
periodically you meet and think down the road.
yeah, last month we reviewed this and crossed off what we did and what we haven't done. But it seemed like what we had not done, we needed to start discussing or deciding if we're gonna do it. Like you mentioned, the door project.
Well, that's where, like, on that one, for example, the facilities one, right, we got this will provide facilities capable of meeting the needs of students. Well, that's gonna be our goal forever, right?
Right,
So we've got individual goals. We've already done some of them, goal 1, that's probably about done,
yeah, it is.
right? So like, that's the thing, I think to Jared's point is, I'm fine with just having some top level goals, and then, yeah, we set some, and maybe they're 5-year plans, right? Like the entryway or air conditioning, it's not a thing we can do a year, but we put them on the list. And then we put like a time frame when we have trials. That's why I say we work towards it each year.
Okay.
Or we try to, you take steps, right? Because
Mhm.
I know with the windows and stuff, last year we were trying to get quotes, and like it's all process, right? We can't do anything too quick here.
Okay, so we're gonna back out what we have in here and just start with the top level for all of these and set these next, right? Is that what it sounds like?
Yeah, I mean, we can,
So like the first one, student achievement.
Right. So, well, are we focusing on this or we're gonna do mission statement first?
I don't see the need to spend too much time on the mission statement.
No.
These are very, very, broad.
Mhm.
In my personal opinion, I don't even think we need the bullet points. I think this is a perfectly suitable mission statement.
First sentence. Yeah.
First sentence that we can, start, like Matt says, start cascading. down the line.
I just envision that sentence and then those the ones in the green highlighted that are broad, and you kind of build off like what Matt's saying, from that.
So you're saying put these down here?
Well, I mean, yeah, depending on what the
I
format.
mean, the mission statement is that sentence.
Yeah.
Then, from a process standpoint, we start building off of it.
What do you think of that mission statement, Nick?
I mean, I think it's similar to what's there. I think it's still too long. I think just if we could simplify it like 5, 6 words, right? I mean, when you think about a lot of them, like LPs is learn, grow, lead. Excellence is our standard, right? I mean, it just gets wordy. I mean, if you can't memorize it and know it, then you're not gonna live it, in my opinion. So, that it's good, but I mean, if we could get that shorter, everyone knows it and it just flows. I mean, I think that, in my opinion, goes further than the length.
Ours is on the bottom of all of our agendas.
Yeah,
And,
this,
uh,
and what Nick said, this one says exceptional learning, character, leadership.
Yeah, I mean, so that would be what I would look at, like, what is our end goal for students leaving Tonica Grade School? What do we aspire them to be? And go from there.
we're not high school, right? Like LP.
That's different from just read,
Oh,
so,
I was referring to the one you said. but
Yeah.
I sent you that one that I made up a while ago.
You resent it to me?
No, I didn't resend it. It was dream, believe, achieve. And
Yeah, you did,
I found that
yeah.
There was other places that had
and I just go back
different things.
to what Ralph said,
Mhm.
when he was here, he was like, shorter is better. Jim Burgett at the
You remember it.
That was
conference
December, wasn't it, man?
was the same thing,
Mhm.
was shorter the better, you remember it?
I like that. I generally, I don't like mission statements. I think they're completely unnecessary.
We
remember
know,
that.
we noticed, yeah.
But
We noticed.
your point, I think, is a really good one, that if you can make something short and memorable and punchy, right, with a set of principles right at the core, and that you can repeat, remember, and learn, it does what mission statements are supposed to do,
Yeah.
which is sort of cultivate a certain way of thinking amongst the entire school,
Yeah,
right?
like, I like-
That's the point.
I like the dream, believe, achieve type thing, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, think about it, like, you wanna be able to get it to be on the
I'm up
back of
for
a
this.
t-shirt,
Yeah.
where like the faculty could wear it, or your kids could all have it, and.
Well, that's
you
what I
know,
was
it
just
says
gonna
the
say. I
same
mean, a lot
thing.
of schools will do a lot of branding off of their, you know. their
Matt, can I
3
forward
bullet
this?
words,
Yeah.
that they come up with.
You can,
Well, I was just gonna send it, but if you got it.
okay. Yeah, he's got dream, believe, achieve, and then he's got the categories, dream, believe, achieve, and what he sees for it.
And that was initially more just for me, as I was trying to decide to run, I wrote out what my thoughts were and why I wanted to be here.
Rolls off the tongue.
So, but I mean, I didn't make it up on my own, I found it. Like, there's,
Full disclosure.
I Googled it, right? It's like Google elementary school mottos, and there's a bazillion of them.
Yeah.
Well, in
This one was
education, we
common.
don't make things up ourselves.
Right.
We like are.
Sincere,
I know, we
sincere
don't-
form
we
of
reinvent
flattery.
the wheel.
What does a teacher use? I know that system. I think what's that?
Most
No, teacher
sincere
pay
form of
teacher.
flattery. So.
That's the
Yeah,
Borrow.
teachers pay
Yes,
teachers.
my wife likes to buy things in there, but I mean, it's fine because other people, like, they've already done all this, and it's fine to borrow things.
I'm a big believer in not recreating the wheel. I mean, if there's something out there that
Let me send this
fits
to,
and just
Bob,
make it
too.
fit for us, I don't think that's a bad strategy.
you should all have it in your email now.
You forwarded it to everyone.
No, I mean, I gotta send it to you too.
I'm sorry.
And Holly.
That's ours.
What is it?
That's ours.
Oh,
Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
when we read our current mission statement, like, I mean, obviously, the one that's up there, you know, the things that stand out to me as an educator would be like individual need, caring, creative, you know, learning, personal growth, values, right? So like, what things could you come from the existing mission statement that you could do something like dream, believe, achieve?
Yeah.
Right? You know?
pretty sure ChatGPT could narrow that down to 3 words.
I think ours is.
Tell it to.
Let's see. That's what.
Yeah.
Ogilvy's is probably like 4 words, because ours is 4.
I actually don't know what ours is.
Yeah, ours is
Just so
something
you
about
know.
achieve. Ours is
Fine.
something about achieve.
Are we online?
I can't remember, I don't know Ottawa's.
Oh, no, everybody
And
knows.
St. Bede's is like a paragraph.
Mhm.
Mendoza's
My
like
work
4
one
words.
is too long and it's weird.
It used to be on the bottom of all of our board agendas. It's like something about achieve or something. It's not on that one for this month.
It's like, mine is like,
So we've got about 5 minutes left before we start the actual board meeting. I'm just going to review a couple things that I took some notes on. So the mission statement, we're going to talk about, narrowing that down to 3 to 4, I don't know, words,
think we
phrases,
explained it,
however you
yeah.
want to say that. We talked a lot about the process to create a new strategic plan, starting with the end in mind, looking at other plans to find a format that we agree on. Sounds like Matt's got one that in mind that might be one to check out. I'm sure everybody's got that in their email so far. What else am I missing here that we kicked around? That's really the 2 main things we talked about today.
Just investigate other stuff, right?
Yeah.
See other schools,
Right.
see what we can borrow.
So last thing, let's, do we want to set another working session in the future?
It says care, creativity, and growth.
Who's this at?
you wanna, So what is it
Do we
say?
want to have one in March?
Care,
Yeah.
creativity,
Okay, let me
Keep
look at my
moving.
calendar. Hang on a second. March.
what did, it said care,
It
create,
says,
Creativity and growth.
Yep, care, creativity, and growth. And then they said if you want to make it a sentence, fostering growth through care and creativity.
Ah, there you go.
I put in Chat GPT and then it came up with fostering creative growth. Which I don't know.
this could be tough.
Yeah.
This could be hard. But maybe I don't know if we're making it too hard or if I'm making it hard.
Our March meeting is on March 19th. Do we want to have another working session before the meeting? What's everybody's thoughts on that? We can do the same time if this works out for everybody.
I'd do it.
And so we're gonna look at brainstorm and look at other options is what we're doing, right?
March 19th, 5 PM. And so, yeah, so let's just bring back some different plans and take a look at them. You want to send them to me and I'll just print them out, keep them in, put them together in some format that we can all look at, and we'll have something to go on for the next meeting.
All right, so 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock, March 19th. The actual meeting will start at 5:45. Good?
So our goals for that is to come up with any other 3 to 4 letter words that we would want to put in for the mission
Bring a
statement,
mission statement.
and or
and,
looking at other people's
yeah,
processes
right,
for
yeah.
strategic plan.
Well, I mean, look at other people's plans, see what format that might fit us the best, and
I may have to step out to tend to children at some point.
I'll do it.
Yeah, okay. So if need be, I'll just.
to do what?
Yeah.
I'm
Secretarial
watching the
duties.
kids.
Oh, okay.
So they're gonna be, one of them's hanging out now, there's gonna be. three.
Gotcha, okay.
So,
And then there's 3, there's trouble.
You wanna go check them quick?
Yeah, you can check them out.
Yeah,
We've got
yeah,
a few
few
minutes.
minutes.
One was very
That was
quiet
my
in the
Monday.
cafeteria.
We don't have a roll call.
Hey, give me, oh,
Jared's your way. Go ahead.
Oh, there he
Jared.
is.
J-Rod.
When you're settled, roll call, please.
you say 5:45?
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Bernadoni.
Yes.
Conzett,
Yes.
Riddick,
Yes.
yes, Gans.
Yes.
Zimmer,
Yes.
Ms. Rapp,
Yes.
Mr. Ketchum.
Here.
Pledge of allegiance, please stand.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Put on the sheet.
If you haven't signed in yet, please do so. Guess.
Or you want this one?
We do have some recognition to start with. Bruce Norquist recognized Miss Rapp, and I'll read a little bit of his email to me regarding Miss Rapp. Good afternoon, Mr. Ketchum. I was the IESA official at the co-op volleyball tournament last Saturday at Tonica. I submitted complimentary IESA report to your AD and volleyball coach, Holly Rapp. To be quite clear, it takes a lot for me to recognize folks because most just go through the motions to, quote, get it over with. The tournament was well organized and ran so efficiently I had to recognize her. Few ADs who run tournaments that size can organize and orchestrate such a large event the way Ms. Rapp did. The IESA recognized her on the IESA Facebook page, but I was hoping the Tonica Lost Co-op would also recognize her. For the past 2 years since I've refereed for the co-op, I've yet to meet anyone as dedicated to the student athletes that also exemplifies great leadership and goes above and beyond. Ms. Rapp is an asset to your co-op and she should be praised and recognized. Few have her skills and talent. Few can run such a large tournament with no issues. And sadly, very few care as much about the kids as Ms. Rapp does. I sincerely hope you recognize her with your peers from Lostant. In all my years of refereeing, I have never experienced such a well-coordinated and orchestrated all-day tournament. I've had the privilege to see her coach the kids, cheer them on, and uplift them. Few ADs and/or coaches exhibit such leadership, kindness, and empathy. Ms. Rapp is a testament to the commitment to the co-op has for its student athletes, and you should be so proud to have someone of her nature leading the next generations. You are so lucky to have her. If I can give more information, please let me know. Sincerely, Bruce Norquist, IESA official. Yeah. So congratulations. Thank you.
Yes, nice job. Thank you, Holly. On there, Ms. Schneider put, thank you to the board members for coming to the science fair. So
Yes, I want to thank all of you that did show up to the science fair. The parents recognized it and they were really impressed by that. And the students too, it meant a lot to them, whoever showed up. So thank you so much.
okay, then we have a public comment letter. A letter was received on 2/19/2025 from Miss Tracy Lee. A copy of the letter is linked into the agenda and the minutes will reflect that the letter was received. Then we move into approval of the revised agenda for February 19th, 2025. We added the committees to this. And then what else did we add? I think that was it, wasn't it? Just the committees?
Yeah.
So if I can get an approval of the updated agenda.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Glover.
Yeah.
Downey.
Yes.
Concept.
Yeah.
Riddick.
Yes.
Wilson, yes. Scans.
Yes.
Zimmer.
Yes.
Number 5, the consent agenda. Did everybody get a chance to review those items? There's quite a lot in there. District bills, board meeting, an executive session, staff reimbursements, things like that. I think Matt had some questions and forwarded them out the answer.
Mhm.
When you answer those, if you just want to answer all of us.
Yeah, I'm not very good at that. I apologize.
Yeah. Actually, I had a TGS group email created. You can feel free to use that.
Mhm.
And then there's a FOIA request, which Bob said sounds like an AI one.
Yeah, so our friend Owen Wang is, if you remember back in the fall, near the beginning of school year, he flooded, seemed like the area with a lot of FOIA requests. This one it's been responded to, and I suspect, and talking to my colleagues there, they agree that this is probably an AI-driven thing. I don't even know if Owen Wang is a person. But anyway, make a long story short, the FOIA was responded to.
So any questions on the information in the consent agenda? Can I get a motion to approve it?
Motion.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Downey.
Yeah.
Concept.
Yes.
Riddick.
Yes.
Wilson, yes. Scans.
Yes.
Zimmer.
Yes.
Glover.
Yes.
Okay, you're up.
Financial report. Overall, we are at 58% through the school year. Revenues are at 83.25% and expenditures are at 58.53%. So we're just about where we should be. Two things to highlight on the funds. If you look at or notice that Fund 40 and 50, the ratios are very close. There is an EBF payment in those two categories that we haven't received yet, so that will make a big difference on that revenue ratio. Other than that, the others are just about where they should be at this time of the year. Take any questions that you might have.
How much of our funding, like in our operating budget, comes from federal payments?
From federal monies? So that's a good question. So I think in the future, given the nature of what's going on at the federal level, when I get to the point where I'm budgeting, you're almost going to have to create two different budgets. One without the federal money, like your title grants, and that's a small percentage of the overall pie, but it does fund things like Amy Grant. A lot of other, Mark Karlowski is funded out of there. So there are some services that if we didn't have federal funds that we'd have to take over with district money.
Like off the top of your head, kind of how much percentage wise?
I don't have a percentage, but I mean, like I said, it's a small percent of the overall
I
pie.
feel like it was 10%.
But I mean, the federal money is primarily your title grants, your Title I, Title II, Title IV, your pre-K, your flow through. I mean, it's a small percentage of the overall pie, but it does fund some very important things. So we will, I mean, as things unfold at the federal level, we'll know more, obviously, but I'm almost thinking you'd almost have to create two different, I hope we don't have to do that because there's twice as much work. Well, for me, it's double the work.
Well,
But I mean, we'll have to see what happens in the next coming weeks or so.
I read the 40 pages. And most of what they're saying is that obviously they want to put it back at the state level.
Yeah.
My concern is the state level they want to put it at probably cannot handle it. It's like Department of Human Services, no way can handle that.
My concern is that not necessarily, because I think we'll get our federal money, but if it goes back to the state, will we get it on time?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a big difference. I mean, at least we're getting it, but if we get it not on time, it's almost like we don't get it. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's going to be one of those fluid situations we'll have to monitor going forward.
I mean, yeah, the document made sense, but it also is a big change. Yeah.
Just looking at the budget, it's like 7%.
Yeah, I think it was more than 10.
I don't know.
I mean, is that something we should set aside?
What's that?
Like, should we just monitor that 10% or 7.5%? Or
Well, I
you
mean,
think it's too early to
again,
tell?
we're going to have to see how this unfolds, but you would almost have to go through and prioritize some of those things that we pay for with federal money. For example, like Mark Karlowski, like Amy Graham, and some of the other stuff that we pay for. What can we do without, and what do we absolutely need? And so those things we absolutely need. If we don't have our federal money, we would have to pay for that with district
money. Any questions after that on the financial report? I know it's in the section above, but I was confused the two, but do you think we should invest any more money into CDs while they're
I
still
think
high?
given the nature of what's going on at the federal level, I think we need to hold on just a little bit.
So there's a pretty good
Yeah,
rate for
I
6
think we need
months
to
though.
protect those fund balances based on what's, I mean, if we have to,
Okay, I'm not saying not protect them, it's protected in a CD.
Well, I
But
mean,
do we
I-
need money for 6 months if we're sitting on $500,000 that can
oh,
earn
I see what you mean.
4%? Like in the O&M fund, isn't there 700,000?
Close to that.
I mean, I personally would, well, you can still get a 4% rate, would want to see if we could do that.
Yeah, that's a possibility. We could open another CD and
And
Put
now
some
might
money
do
into it.
91 days if you don't want to go
Mhm.
6 months.
Yeah.
How much is in those funds right now?
In O&M,
No, how much do we have in those Illinois funds?
Illinois
it's a little over
funds,
200,000.
yeah,
Isn't that what you're talking about? The
No.
Illinois funds?
CDs.
that's a money market, so that's, can be, it
Oh,
can
you're talking about the
fluctuate.
CDs.
I'm talking about
She's
CDs,
talking
so it
about
doesn't
maybe taking
fluctuate.
some of the balance off of Fund 20 and putting it into a CD.
Into the CDs, okay.
And that's a possibility. You could, I mean, we would tag it so that if we had been to crack that CD, we would go right back into 20. But that's the board, if that's up to the board, if you want me to pursue that and look into that, I mean, the rates are favorable. They're over 4%
Well,
right
if it
now.
is just
so
sitting there waiting for us to use it, we might as well get some.
Yeah. It's fine. I don't know what, I mean, just a matter of how much to take off and invest.
Yeah, we don't want to leave you short with
Right.
anything.
I mean,
But it also depends on if he is willing to do a 91 day or 6 months and what you're going to need in those two timeframes.
yeah, Al's been great to us. I think he would be great to, he'll do us right on whatever rate that we, or whatever terms that we want to set up.
What do you guys think? It's not earning anything right now.
No, I'm fine with it. We got a lot of money.
Does anyone have a dollar figure in mind? Out of that 700 something, what do you want me looking at, 250? That's kind of what we do normally with, that's what's
To keep it
starting
in a
point
chunkable
on
amount.
the others. That sound
If
good?
you think that fund is healthy at 250,
I think it
I
would
be
be.
all
think
right.
that's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'd have about $1 million worth of CDs.
Yeah.
That's 4%.
Well, we don't know for sure until Al comes back and decides what he wants to do. Competitively wise, we could offer 4%, but he is small, so I'd be happy with 3.75, honestly. I prefer 4.25. His first state has 4.25.
He's been pretty good to it. I don't know that the public even got that 4.25.
Probably
rate.
not.
I think he got to us specifically, but
That was a pretty good deal last time, and the fire department, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
balancing act.
yeah.
He might not want me to take it anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, it's changing every day. So.
Okay. So I guess we're okay with asking Bob to look into that? Are we good with the finance report that he went over?
I'll make a
Yep.
motion.
Okay, please, yeah, if someone can motion on that.
And
Motion to approve. Finance report.
I'll second. Thanks, Brett, I can do that. Roll call.
Konzak,
Yes.
Riddick,
Yes.
Olson, yes, Gans.
Yes.
Zimmer,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Bernadoni.
I know what that is. Okay, reports, updates, and informational items. This is Holly, Miss Holly.
So I gave the administrative report that Mr. Owens and I completed. There were some questions about the Ames web, which was the same chart that I had given in the fall. I created with math and reading yesterday and today. The first number, it has the student enrollment as of now, which is went down a little bit. Obviously, we also have some students that are outplaced, so we're at 91. And then exceeds, the first number is the fall enrollment of that tested at that level. The second is the winter benchmark that they took after they came back. So you'll see that 21 in the fall met and exceeded in math, and then 47, and then 24 in warning, and then the testing that they just took.
Is there 2 pages or 1?
No, it's just one. It's just, there's many copies. I made a whole bunch of copies.
Thank you.
No problem. So you'll notice that 24 of the students met or exceeded in math, 48 met, and 19 were in warning across the district in math. And then the reading scores are below, and then the percentage. So it's a little more of a chart friendly for than what is the percentage that was previously shared. But so this is enrollment wise and where they're scoring and meeting and warning. So not too bad, actually.
So do the kids get like actual scores, or do they just get a level? Or
So-
they just get exceeds meet warning?
So the students in a sense don't see what, their score is. They might, if a teacher goes over it, like I know I personally used to as a classroom teacher, okay, you did really, like you scored in the 99th percentile. Like that was something that I highlighted. But I also, when I was in the classroom, I used to also print their Ames Web and share it at parent-teacher conferences to show. So they get like a orange, yellow, red, green, the pretty blue across, and then it shows what they scored in each area. So there's the different sub areas. But
That's always been done here with my kids.
Yeah, I got 'em.
Yeah.
So how does this then align with the IAR scores? Because I was looking at your numbers from last year and then comparing to IAR, and the Ames Web scores seem way higher than the IAR scores.
two totally different tests.
Totally different.
Your local assessment's always gonna get better results than your IAR. IAR is a snapshot in time.
And IAR, I know when I was in the classroom, like it's like, I'll use, cause I had the ELs like, your wife did, like it's a non-timed for ELs. They can take forever. They might rush through it because how many students don't want to sit there for 2 hours? ELs could have all day back in the day. They get bored, they're just clicking because you don't get the results usually until the school year's out or the fall. So it's a struggle in that sense for some of those. In the IAR is a totally different test.
The state cares about your numbers though.
Oh, I know they do. Yeah, yeah, they do.
So then we use this to decide, like this is how we help decide RTI. So if they're in the morning, does that?
So Ames
move them to
Web,
IAR and
so-
RTI immediately, or how does that work?
so they met, so Laura Levine and Robbie, the school social worker, met with each of the teachers once we got the scores. And like what they're doing, do they need extra help? Do they need to get more support? No different than like in LaSalle, if Kristen would have worked with certain students that might need, you know what I mean? And when I was in the classroom, it was also, okay, you're getting 30 minutes of a small group time is what we did it when I was in LaSalle.
So it's just one piece of it, it doesn't
Mhm.
automatically mean.
No,
Okay, that's what I wasn't sure.
because here's the other thing is,
Automatically not.
like, you could have a student that scores in the warning, but deep down, you don't need to meet with them, like.
That's
that-
why those discussions with teachers are important to have those.
Yeah, like, or they might have just click, 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 instead of getting a true test, or maybe it's the fact that they have AT, you know what I mean, there's other situations or triggers that might sense that, or they just had a rough morning that day, so.
Yeah, I guess just as we talked about our goals earlier, the strategic plan talks about improvement. Like with this view, I mean, it makes sense, but it's hard to understand like how many kids got better, right? Because say in, I don't know, just pick fourth grade, right? There's 3, they're all the same, 3 and 3, 10, 10, 3, 3, but that doesn't mean it's the same kids.
No,
So like, I don't know, I think as we go forward, I'd like to see something where we could, I don't need to know every kid's score, but just say, okay, we had 5 kids improve, 3 kids stayed the same, 2 kids regressed. Like, I think that's what, for the strategic plan, that's how I read the goal. We want to know, are the things we're doing helping kids progress to get better?
Right.
So that's like the view, I guess, whether it's the end of the year or next year, whatever, like, I'd like to get to understand, is the stuff we're doing making an impact? Because right now, this is just a snapshot to me. I don't know who's who, I don't know which one of these kids, we could have had 10 kids do great and then do terrible.
I think for me, it's these numbers, the total enrollment part. So like, in math, 24 of them were at the warning, but now only 19. Right?
But we
Those
still have
numbers-
19.
Those numbers seem more important. Like,
Yeah, I think directionally, yeah, that's good, but I mean, for the teachers, they'll want to work
So
on
you
it.
want more specific. Is that what you mean?
I want to make sure that we're not letting kids slip, and then also the kids who are exceeds, I mean, both of the numbers, they went up. Right, I don't want kids who are exceeding to not get challenged to where they regress because they're bored. Right? We need to pick up the kids who are behind, but we also need to make sure we're still keeping the kids who are exceeding challenge. So it all kind of goes, I was trying to pencil it out, we can talk about it later, it's just like a up, down. So make sure we're not losing ground. I mean, we're not, based on this,
Right.
we have less, like you say, so it's good overall. But yeah, there's a couple classes we're not, so maybe there's
Right,
classes that need extra help.
sure.
Maybe there's classes that are like fourth grade, right? They had a lot improved,
That what you want?
go to 12 from 6, so what are they doing different,
0.7 or something.
right? We can learn from that, so. Okay, thanks.
20%?
21%.
Okay.
Anything else you want to highlight on your report?
No.
You can go in your AD reports.
Oh, you don't want to go over the slideshow?
No, thank you.
Well, I want to look at it real quick. Volleyball night, 8th grade.
Yeah.
Was that at Lawson or
I
Tonica?
was here.
And the regional championship, and then music activities. What'd they do in music?
Made a stop motion.
Yes, yeah, they're doing some other, she's tying it in with some, her other class. They did some little books and, yeah, they're doing some good projects, so.
And they went sledding, it looks like.
The stop motion was a big hit in our house.
He's still doing it.
Yeah, so he's doing it.
Really?
Big hit.
That was a fun thing when I always did
Oh, yeah.
STEM and STEAM. It really got that into them, my students, when I did that.
Looks like 100th day of school was a hit also.
I forgot to add my kids to the flower dissection.
Did? Oh, nice.
I could add it back.
Fitness, pickleball. I saw a pickleball tournament the other day at the bar at Aces. They were playing, must have been some kind of national tournament. Didn't know pickleball was TV worthy.
Good stuff.
I was actually watching that, I was like, oh, that's gonna be me someday.
Look at those shoes.
And then
Thank you.
one of the slides is from the e-learning day. I jumped on a couple of the groups and took some pictures of them e-learning, which was their first adventure, so.
How did that go?
Some classes did extremely well, some not so well. But they're getting the hang of it. And that's the most important thing, so that they don't have to make up the days. So hopefully they'll continue to grow as their technology grows.
Do they get to take their Chromebooks home every day in the event that like something like this happens? 'Cause
Yeah.
I know early in the day it didn't look like it was gonna happen.
3 through 8 take them home, and then K2 don't take them home.
Kindergarten registration, March 21st.
Yep, so flyers and have all this sent out. Kelsey's got packets already for any of the students. We've spoke with Oglesby, seeing which ones will be coming. And hopefully she'll have some early numbers of kindergarten students, so.
We get that ahead of time, leave a note so we can come in here, okay. Are we ready for online registration yet for next year?
She has a training meeting end of this month, beginning of next month. She's totally on board with going online, which will be really good because of the amount of documents that can be. So you really just have to check, so it'll be very nice.
Are they PDFs?
You can PDF, yeah, so, and then you just check it stuff, so, and then there's some dates that are coming up, so.
Braves of the month. Rosie, Tatiana, and Raya.
And then I also did the access testing for all the ELL students in the district. I do suggest training at least 2 staff members for future training for testing.
You got that?
Miss Laura Levine was also, so she did it, but training's done online through webinars, but it's something that I would suggest.
We need 2.
I would have 2 just in case. numbers, what if somebody's out? It's always good to have it.
How many ELL students do we have?
There's 8 currently.
8 of the 91.
Two of them will graduate. So,
This year they're graduating?
yeah, we have 2 8th grade
Oh,
ELs.
so we'll have 6 for 2025, 2026, at least.
It's not a hard training. It's go on and watch some webinars and just review, but it's one of those that I would definitely have more staff trained, because you never know if the staff goes, like to a different district, so. And it's a training that's for everybody. All staff could do it, because it would also open their eyes to ELLs, so.
For the career fair that they're going to at IVCC, are you having them dress for it? Like, hey, let's dress up, we're going to a job fair?
No, I believe they just normally just wear what they would normally to schools, based on what I've seen from other schools.
Okay. I know, like the one that LP, the sophomores, they try to get them to dress up.
Yeah, most of the pictures I've seen from previous years, they're wearing
Regular
jeans
clothes.
and what they would normally.
You're not gonna hand out ties on the day? No? Okay.
Maybe
Maybe the ELLs, that training, that's like a awareness training?
it's
It's not the endorsement, right?
no, it's the ELL. It's to give them the test.
We do have somebody with an endorsement, like the kindergarten teacher have endorsement,
Mhm.
and I know you do
But I know your wife was, and I never did it to be trained, because they, had other people, and Derek did it. But I suggest staff do it. It only helps.
So you're saying 2 more plus Megan, or at least Megan and one other one?
I would do 2 staff, whether Megan wants to do it or not. I would make sure that you at least have an administrator that's trained in it. And obviously, if you have Laura Levine, that's very capable, but if Lise decides to switch her to a different district, that.
Maybe not
I
have
would
it.
suggest like a junior high person, some 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, one at the lower level.
Yeah.
And they can divide it up that way. It's easier.
And it's not to say that they would actually test them, because there's not that many, but you never know if somebody's gonna be out sick
Doesn't hurt, yeah.
or surgery or whatever.
The science fair's at NIU this year. I know she said it was at a smaller venue last year in Oswego.
It was at Newark last year.
Oh, Newark, sorry, I could
That's
remember completely wrong. STEM assembly, what do we have in?
It's the STEAM assembly that
Thank you.
the foundation is working with, to come.
Okay. How many bridge builders do we know are, I know that it's kind of hit or miss, isn't it? Do we know yet, since it's not until April?
We have 10 teams.
Thank you.
And then we're sharing a bus with Lawson to go to that. And the same thing on a couple other, like, they're going to, sharing a bus for the career fair, and then they're also going to be going to LP to watch the Mean Girls play. So they'll be sharing with Lawson. That's a junior high. They'll be sharing with Lawson that day too. We just received information that Bob approved.
That K-2 grade field trip to Bloomington, does Lawson want to go?
I don't know what they're doing. They don't normally go. They usually go school-wide when they do field trips. but-
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
You want to go through your athletic director?
It's just the same, pretty much the same report. Like I said, we did the 8th grade night up here for Rachel, our one volleyball player. And then we did the boys basketball and lost it. It was well received. And then we hosted the tournaments, one in each location. And then we are also hosting the volleyball regionals. And then our boys just finished their season. I have about 90% of the schedules done with officials assigned for next year. And so just
Will you say
waiting.
that again? How much you have done?
About 90%. My goal is to have it all done. I'm just waiting on a couple schools, and obviously since Holy Family, Prue Catholic, and Trinity have now combined, that took out some scheduling, so, but they're almost all done, so.
And you think that they won't go into our bracket
For what?
for sports?
I'm not sure what they will do. We have Prairie Catholic tentatively on a schedule for a couple of sports, but we just got an email today from Nicole Kasprak, who's taken over the scheduling for the athletics, and like they're canceling their tournaments that they normally host. But they're gonna probably keep some of the schedules that have already been made, so.
And they're looking at going back into our conference?
The Vermillion has met and has, not the 3 Catholic schools they're combining. The Catholic, or the schools that met for the conference meeting were Dimick and Ladd.
Okay.
And
I'm sorry,
early
yeah.
was that they would probably be getting invited to participate. However, it has to go to the board, Vermillion. Yeah.
Okay. All right, and then under the section 7, we added, committee reports. I know we talked about getting together with buildings and grounds again. I feel like you had a suggestion on how to do that. That was to look into the makers space. Can you update, who's in charge of the makerspace?
Well, we kind of met with Jeff, and like we kind of said that after discussing that, it's kind of, some of it shouldn't be left on if classrooms move down and what the new administration wants. But yeah, I have not proceeded any further on it because a lot of that depends on what is decided. And
is there discussion of classrooms moving around?
We have talked about moving down to one hallway, yeah.
Anyway, buildings and grounds would like to get together, which is Julie and Jared, right?
Yep.
So you want to coordinate that for before March's meeting?
Love to.
Okay. Shared superintendent committee, we are meeting, actually, we met with Greg and Lisa from Lawston. And we had some conversation that we decided to have some further conversation. So next Tuesday, both boards will be meeting and doing some more conversing. There's some just some items to talk through with making sure both districts are on the same page. Steer committee, Matt and I met with Ms. Skinner and Mrs. Moretta, and we had some really good conversation, and it was based on the next year and how next year's going to look and what the board can do to help the teachers get ready for the incoming administration and what the picture looks like. The board hired Ms. Tracy Malcolm with experience in regards to goal setting and tracking of development of the students, and we hired her for a reason. And so we're just getting on the same page with teachers and the board and what we see working for our students. So we started that, and then we're going to meet again in March. It's currently set quarterly, but I think we might do monthly for a little bit just to kind of get on the same page. I think our next, we were going to see if Tracy has time.
14th is when she'll be here.
Okay.
March 14th.
And go from there.
Is our next board meeting the 19th?
19th.
Do we have any, is there anything you want to add to that, Matt? I was just kind of being broad. Okay. So that's it for reports, updates, and informational items. I don't think, do we need to vote to accept that?
No, nothing. No,
Okay.
no vote.
discussion items. Bob updated the organizational chart, then did it again.
Yeah, so the organizational chart originally I'd sent out was, just wasn't clear. And so I just took the old one that we had and made it so I could manipulate it a little bit to reflect how we're currently set up. And I've linked that in for you to look at. This is just a first draft or a first view of it. There was some suggestion on wording at the bottom as well. And so I took those suggestions as well. Again, this is just a first reading, and you'll see this again most likely in March, and we'll approve. And again, the intent is just to reflect how we're currently set up as as far as administration. Prior to this, the old one was set up with just a little bit different. It was superintendent/principal, then assistant principal below that. So it just makes sense to update it to reflect how we currently are set up. The art of school boarding. Again, this is my favorite part of the board meeting. We are on chapter 7 and 8. This is when I get a chance to see who does their homework for board meetings. And chapter 7 and 8. Two things that stood out to me in reading. I just picked one for each one because these were good chapters, I thought. But the first one that stood out to me was it solidifies the importance of chain of command and following it. Mr. Burgett talks a lot about that. Nick and I sat through his session at the conference in the fall and talks a lot about following chain of command and gives a lot of real tangible examples about what happens if you don't and the unintended consequences of doing that. And so that stood out to me in chapter 7. Chapter 8, one of the things that came to my mind as I read that was keep the main thing the main thing. I think he uses that phrase in there. I've used that in the past. I didn't know that he even used that phrase, but that kind of stood out to me. And it, the other thing and associated with that is that we're tasked with helping kids, and this is at the very center of all of our decisions. And I think if we keep that at the center of our decisions, there's very few times that you can go wrong when you have that at your core. Who's next? Jared's anxious. Go ahead, Jared.
Yeah. I guess I kind of echo what you said about chapter 8. We've it's come up over and over and over again over the years, trying to keep the kids. It's all about the kids. It's all about the kids. But I think it is important to think about in terms of how we, exchange ideas with each other. It's a really good way to frame. We might disagree about what's best for the kids, but it's a good lens through which you can talk about any issue. And I think that was a really good point. So.
I liked chapter 7 about catching and throwing a complaint. I like those tangible things to do and what to say and how to act, how not to act when you're talking to people. So I like that part.
Yeah, so in chapter 7, the part about expecting complaints, I mean, we all go places and hear things and it's hard to, sometimes it's hard to deal with, but the main thing is to listen and pass it along to the right person. Yeah. Well, we're doing hoedown now.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I'm at a board meeting in my classroom.
But I think it's just important to reiterate, we're one of 7, right? We can't make decisions, any one of us. We have to act as a group. And I think explaining that to people when they bring stuff to us, that we can help guide them to the right person to talk to. But me personally, I can't do a lot to help you, nor should I, because it's not my job. We have people to go to, but yeah, we can listen. So.
Awesome.
Sorry, didn't do it. I don't even have my book with me.
Brenda,
No,
you get the
she gets one pass.
You have to stay after the meeting and clean up everything. It's your penance. What do you think?
I thought, I like both chapters. I thought chapter 7 was really good. Obviously, formerly being an administrator on the board now, obviously chain of command I think is very important. Because if you don't follow chain of command, you're basically sometimes cutting the legs out from the people who, we are here to help lead and guide. So I liked kind of what Burgett, after seeing him in person as well, and hearing him talk about it, I liked what he had to say, listen, pass it along to the right person, if it's not resolved after you've done that, do it again, but then, eventually, sometimes you have to do that, but I think we have to, make sure that we empower our administrators, we let them know when we hear complaints and different things like that, and then we have to, follow that chain of command. Like I said, I've been on a good end of that, and I've been on the bad end of that, so, I know from perspective on that. And I also thought, I liked what you said, as well, about keeping the main thing, right? So I think, we all, like you said, it's all about the kids, but really, that's what our goal is here, right? Everybody in this room, everybody in the school, from administrator to school board to teachers, like the paraprofessionals to cafeteria, like, we're here for the kids. So I think as long as we keep that in mind, and that is our focus in the decisions making that we do, whether we agree or disagree what that looks like, I think we just have to keep that in our mindset. So I thought it was a good chapter. Like I said, this guy is a great guy to even just listen to as well. So, if we could ever get him here, he'd be great.
Fantastic.
I actually liked the first part of calm, which was giving the compliment. So like for me, when I have to make a phone call home to parents, or we have parent-teacher conferences or something, I always start with positive first, right? Even if sometimes that's a struggle to find a positive, you start with a positive, right? And so the thing was to compliment the person that is bringing the complaint to you, to start it off in more of a positive direction.
I have a problem not solving things for people. So I have to keep reminding myself that it's not me to solve them for people. And then I'm asking around, how do you have that uncomfortable conversation? I don't want to have the uncomfortable conversation. And chapter 8 is never forget who comes first. I'm going to have the uncomfortable conversation for our students. It's going to happen. That's what I took away.
So I wanted to just end with this. I appreciate all your work on this little endeavor reading this book. And I think it's one of the most important things that we've done as a board since I've been here. Has the potential to change how we do things. It's a good model to follow, this book. I mean, my personal opinion, should be required reading for every board member in the state. So anyway, just off my soapbox.
Okay, we're gonna go down to action items, so that Mr. Teagarden does not have to be here all night. We'll take care of that first. So do you want to talk about?
Yeah, so this is Julian Teagarden. Julian is, we're set to approve Julian to be our art teacher next year. Julian's brought his family with him, and so we're glad to meet you as well. And so we're going to skip down to Julian so that we don't have to keep your little ones up too long tonight. And I know you got a trip home too. So Julian's coming to us from the Eureka area, and we'll be commuting from Eureka. He's got a wealth of knowledge and experience working with kids and various grade levels, and it's very artistic, and I'm just excited to have him. I know that the staff has met him as well, and they're excited to have him as well. So welcome aboard, and we're glad to have you, as well as your family.
Welcome.
Just checking out some books.
Yeah.
Can I have a motion to approve the or to approve Mr. Julian Teagarden as art teacher starting the 2025-2026 school year, please?
Motion.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Laughlin.
Yes.
Bernadone.
Yes.
Contact.
Yes.
Riddick.
Yes.
Olson, yes. Gans.
Yes.
Zimmer.
Yes.
Congratulations. Welcome aboard.
Welcome. Thank you.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome to stay, but if you'd like to leave, we understand.
Yeah.
We might be hitting the limit.
You got you.
Get that, yeah.
So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you all, sir.
Take care.
Okay, we're gonna go through the 2025-26 board calendar. Bob has.
Yeah, so the board calendar, I think we had a first reading on this a while back, but these are just reciprocal dates next year as it were this year. No real surprises. And so, yeah, I would recommend us approve the board calendar for next year.
Just something to keep in mind, it's not on here, but I'll be adding to the calendar. I don't know if you noticed I'm doing that. The school board conferences
That typically is in November. I don't typically put that on there, and that is something that
made me
we'll
think
talk
of it,
about
yeah.
in July, because I'll have to make arrangements for who's ever going. And so that's one of the things that we'll talk about in July.
It's usually the week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
'Cause it's deer hunting
Yeah.
season.
Yep.
Yes, so
Shotgun,
we're asking
right?
that, yeah.
Not that I
Greg
know,
from
but I
Lawson is
know.
a deer hunter, but he didn't say
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
to not going. He did not get any deer this year, so he wasn't opposed necessarily.
Other thing that might be helpful too is like, I'd like to know like when the music or the Christmas program
yeah.
is and like when graduation is, if we could get that on a sheet. So like I'm still like I'll hang it on the fridge, so I can see it.
Well,
So if we could get some of those dates, whether it's on this or another sheet or, this is what's posted, but then we have another one for us
Sure.
to have just those type of important dates, just.
I think when we go to the next item, there'll be some of those things in the middle on that school. We might as well, we're there, might as well talk about it.
Okay.
So the school calendar, it's a draft copy of the calendar set to be approved tonight. Some of those dates that Nick's describing is in the center of that calendar. The one thing to clarify,
There you
the Wednesdays, this year Wednesday, we have an 11:30 dismissal, we have a 1:30 dismissal. Well, we're just doing an 11:30 dismissal on one Wednesday a month. And so that gives the staff enough time to meet as a staff, as committees, and various professional development opportunities that they'll be engaged with as well. And so,
There's a December 3rd as 2, or December 3rd and December 10th on
yes,
11:30 and
there are some
1:30.
months that we have two, yes.
Are they
And those are-
strategically made that way?
Well, some of them, they're like that this year. They're like, for example, October, there's two. Yeah, and those are typically because
Why is
of,
there 2 every month?
there's not two every month. There's just
1, 2,
October, there's 2.
3,
And
4,
there is
5,
2
6,
in May.
7.
So, yeah.
A pink and a green?
The tan ones are going away, the 130s.
Yeah, so we're just going to 11:30. Like I said, that gives the staff enough time to meet as a staff, gives them enough time to meet in committees when they do that, as well as, for example, the math curriculum that we're adopting, they'll have to have time to meet as, for professional development with the math curriculum.
So I think, Jen, the ones you're looking at that are tan, they're going away. They won't be on the calendar.
Even though they're on them?
But they're on them right now.
I see a green and a pink. And that's an 11:30
Yeah, so,
and a 1:30.
when this is approved, I will go back to the legend and correct the legend, because the 1:30 that's in tan there, I don't know why that's there. That shouldn't be there. This is probably not the
I'm
most
gonna wanna
updated
approve it
copy
then, so like.
that I have.
So we'll have early dismissal in August, but all the early dismissals.
Yeah,
each
right.
month
Those are just for heat, correct?
will go away.
Okay, but I don't want to approve it until it's updated, I personally.
Yeah, agree.
Was the teachers, are they
We were not
okay with
aware-
Yeah,
we were
yeah,
not-
they've,
we were told that it was the same as this year.
Yeah.
And we use those for our RTI and data meetings in the past. Those were very helpful on those ones. That's kind of confusing because we were told the calendar would be the same as this year. So those 130 days would be used to meet for Ames Web or accelerated reader or, and a lot of times we use different PDs on the 11:30. So I think we're a little bit shy. Because when we were given the calendar to review as a union, it was, everything is the same.
Okay, so we'll table this and regroup on it next month.
that'd be fine.
Okay, down to textbook adoption. Do we need to then approve these separately now? Or just go down and then go back to approve them?
Which one? Tom?
All of these?
Yeah, all of them separate. Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna keep talking about them or you want to approve them as we go?
I prefer we talk about it, approve it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that- I
the
mean,
board
so-
calendar is okay. Do we agree
Board-
that board calendar is, do we have a motion for that?
Motion.
Yeah, but you want some things added to it. at
But
some
they're on the
point.
other calendar once we get that approved. So as long as I get a copy of each of them.
Okay,
So the
Can I
board
get-
the board calendar's been approved. That's been motioned on. The school
Wait,
calendar.
we haven't voted on the board calendar.
we're doing it
We
right
Oh,
now.
I thought we
just
did.
talked
Not-
about
Right
it
now.
at the
not
same
yet.
time.
No, no.
My fault.
Sarah, okay. All right.
Roll call when you have time.
When I've got time.
Approved.
Riddick,
Yes.
Olson, yes. Gans,
Yes.
Zimmer,
Yep.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Bernadoni, Hansa.
Yes. Moving past B to C, textbook adoption. Everybody look at that. It's pretty straightforward and it's what they need. So if you have questions. If not, we'll get a motion.
A motion.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Gans.
Yes.
Zimmer.
Yes.
McLaughlin.
Yes.
Bernadoni. Contact.
Yes.
Riddick.
Yes.
Olson, yes.
It's a good curriculum. I use it in LaSalle, so they'll be very happy with it.
TG's principal contract, everybody met Tracy
Yeah,
today?
so we had a little virtual meet and greet. A couple of you were there, had some staff members. It was really just a open format. Wasn't required or anything, but it was very well done. She had a little presentation planned for whoever was there and did a very nice job with that and had some good questions and good discussion with the staff. And so it was time well spent. She'll be here in person on March 14th. She and I will connect prior to that and just kind of make some plans on what that day would look like and a few other items as well. So the contract is her signed contract developed. There's no secret there, but I would advise that we move forward with approving a contract for Tracy Malcolm as our principal next year.
Did anybody get to listen to her at all today?
Yeah.
I missed it.
She's online too.
Is she?
Was she?
Yeah, she's watching us right now.
So we're excited to have her. I think it'll be good. Talk to the staff about it. I think it'll be good to approve this. The one thing is I asked Bob to put the contracts out there, signed, dated, and where we can see them, just as a good standard practice. So if we can have a motion to approve Tracy,
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
roll call, please.
Zimmer.
Yes.
McLaughlin.
Yes.
Bernadoni. Contact.
Yes.
Riddick.
Yes.
Olson, yes. Gans.
Yes.
Welcome, Tracy.
She didn't say
Julian.
hello.
Julian, we're done. Facility usage requests, Bob.
Yeah, so we have had a very good working relationship with St. Bede. We've traded services with them, meaning that they've used our facility, we've used their track facility. I've included a request from them. They're asking to use our gym for some dates next year. They're willing to pay for one of our custodians to open and close the facility. There's an opportunity for fundraising on concessions and that kind of stuff too. So we've got a very good relationship with St. Bede, so I'd recommend that we move forward with the facility usage.
So they don't need a key or a fob because somebody will be here from our
Correct.
school.
Mhm.
Which is what we've done this year.
Yeah.
It started last year when Nick was still at St. Bede. We had, between both schools, and they've used it for practices while someone's been here. We had a game that was hosted here because they didn't have a gym this year, so works out really nice because then we also have track meets that
Yeah.
we're using their facilities, so.
Right.
I like the fundraiser idea.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
an
there's
opportunity.
3 different dates. I think
Mhm.
we communicate that to the
PTC?
group, the foundation, and even like the 8th graders, right?
Yeah.
I mean, between the 3 groups, I feel like we could probably staff something each day.
Sure.
that we could help utilize that, so it's something to keep in mind as we move into next year.
Let's put those dates down then. Okay.
Yeah, I'll share it with the foundation
Yeah.
and the center of the at the same time.
Cool. Okay, thank you for doing that. We have a motion to approve the usage.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Olson, yes. Gans.
Yes.
Zimmer.
Yes.
McLaughlin.
Yes.
Bernadoni.
Yeah.
Contact.
Yes.
Riddick.
Yes.
We're gonna go into executive session afterwards. It's only, the motion will be to approve semi-annual review of unreleased closed meeting minutes and released public inspection, those minutes or portions of that the board identified as no longer needing confidential. So that is the only action after executive session.
So we just need a motion to go into closed session.
Can I have a motion?
A motion.
Second.
Bernadoni.
Yeah.
Contact.
Yes.
Riddick.
Yes.
Olson, yes. Gans. Zimmer.
Yes.
McLaughlin.
Yes.
And- Bob, I had to write the same beat.
Oh, that's fine.
We're gonna sign off,
Do you think-
to go to.
Matt had asked him why we were